Very good evening, members. Welcome to today's CP session on basics of system audit and opportunities in system audits. To deal this topic, we have with us CA Atul Gupta, sir. Welcome, sir. Sir is a commerce graduate. He obtained chartered accountancy in the year 1997. He also holds a diploma in information system audit in December 2001, first batch of DISA. He is also holding certificate on concurrent audit by ICAI, public finance and government accounting by ICAI, then business responsibility and sustainability report by ICAI. He has addressed institute and several forums, including various sessions, including automation of CE office through use of technology, Excel workshop, common errors in financial reporting, then Tally as an audit tool, how to create decision-making reports from Tally, onboards as a Tally evangelist, regular contributor on Tally new releases. He is the author of several ICAI publications. With regard to members, DISA 2.0, module author, module 6, business application software audit, contributor to DISA 3.0 module, part of a group created for releasing guidance note on bank audit, e-learning contributor. With regard to students, author for chapters in more than one subject for CA students, both inter and final level. He is an e-learning contributor on regular basis. He is a partner in a leading firm since 1997. He is a founder partner. With this brief, I welcome you, sir, Atul Gupta, sir, to handle this session. Over to you, sir.
Okay, so good evening. Just ping me on the audio video. Everything is okay?
Yes,
okay. So welcome. I'll just start sharing the PPT. Yeah, is PPT visible?
Visible, sir. Visible, please.
Yeah. Okay. So good evening, members. And being online is sometimes we feel that probably we might be missing, but then I personally create this interactive session. So I thank the Institute and more specifically South Indian Regional Council for having me here. I'm basically from Indore, Madhya Pradesh, the central part of India. During my audit, I had the pleasure to be at numerous locations, including till Kanyakumari, then Trivandrum, now Thiruvananthapuram. I've been to Chennai itself quite early in my life. So let us start this session. We'll have very interactive session. See, let me share the core purpose of this session is to talk about system. So when I say system, we'll have at least 3-4 broad parameters to system. We will see what opportunities lie for us as chartered accountant in system as word. So as in the introduction it was shared that I'll be talking about system audit. Yeah, I'll be talking about system audit, but we will be talking about more, means there'll be 2 or 3 phases. So we'll be trying to understand system. Then once we gain understanding of system, we are going to see how we as chartered accountant can act as consultant for the whole idea about system development. So I'll be talking much more on system development, how we can add our skills, knowledge to system development as an effort. Once that part is over, then we'll be talking about implementing system, reviewing implemented system, and finally we'll be talking about system audit. I have added one more topic to this discussion today. The keyword of that topic is GRC, governance, risk and compliance. So I'll be sharing. So we'll have, to me, we'll have a good session. I'll request all to keep your queries, let your queries come. I've asked the coordinators at Chennai branch to allow me to have this interaction. So they have ensured that the chat is available with me. So we'll be chat. Put your queries during the session. Please don't wait for the end of the session. So whatever things come to your mind, put it in the chat box. I'm keeping the chat window open so that I can respond to all your queries. So let us start this session on systems and opportunities. So we'll be talking of broad sense, and believe me, I am from a reasonably, I don't want to say we are a metro town. Indore is reasonably sized town with population of around 30 lakh plus 3 million plus population. Then I myself call as a part of SMP, small medium practicing firm, and our core idea shall be addressing the issues for MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises. So when we talk about whatever is our discussion, will be focused on entities who have turnover till say 250 or 300 crores, not beyond that. Why I'm sharing this? Because there are lot and lot of opportunities that lie here for us to encash. So let us start. Go ahead with the session. The the session starts with a quiz. So what I'm doing, yeah, just give me a second. I'll open this quiz and paste in the chat box so that all of us can respond to this. So we want to start with interaction. I've just copied it and putting it here. Yeah. Please click on the link. It must open. Someone say yes, it is opening. Start filling the form. By the time I'll open the responses I'm getting from you. So we'll start with this interaction. Someone has to say in the chat, is it opening? Okay. We have started getting response. That is good. See, I think my whole screen is shared. So probably you are able to see your response. So we have, good. Thank you. So that is what you can do with technology. I understand the responses that you are giving. Uh, that whole sheet is visible to all of you also.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just 30 more seconds and then we'll continue the session. So that is going to allow me to redraft exactly where we are going about. Okay. Good. So let us see how you have responded. So system is process, software way of working process, software way of working processes and audit. So Sanat Chandra Mohan has ticked all. Girish, software and processes. Sony C, software and processes, software, hardware, and other. And Sandhyarani has said, so software, hardware, and other peripheral devices. This gives me good indication that we need to redefine the definition of system, processes, way of working, and processes, software, way of working. So good. That is 10. That tells me that where we want to go. So let me bring back the PPT. Yeah. So I've brought the PPT again. Just ping. Is it visible? Okay. Now, so we'll have more sharing from the practical experiences we had on how and what we can deliver in system. So I'm taking two definitions, an organized set of ideas or theories or a particular way of doing something, that is system. It's online Oxford Dictionary, a set of computer equipment and program which are working together for a particular purpose is again a system, again from an online dictionary. Now see, if you look to these two definitions, one definition is talking about the way of working. Other definition is talking about the way you configure, like we had someone say that system is hardware, network, software. So second definition is about that. Now see, my idea is that we are capable to provide consultation for both of these definitions. So what I'll be basically doing, I want to start with a case that I generally prefer to share. So we want to keep this session interactive. I've kept the chat open. Please put the, I'm asking a question. If I say substandard assets, if I say substandard assets, what is the provision that is to be made for substandard assets? You must, many of us have done the bank branch audit. So what is the provision that you make in substandard assets? So I'm just looking at the response in the chat. I've been informed that you are going to paste in the question answer part. Yeah. Okay. So we want to do it fast. Okay. So we have one response. The period. Good. I think I'm able to read the main name. Chaco. Okay. Thanks for this. So one response says 12 months. Then, okay. So we have got a definition. What is a substandard asset? The definition has been posted by Sony. Yeah. Thank you. Now, my question was the provision requirement. So on substandard assets, the provision that you have to make is 15%. Substandard asset, the total provision is 15%, 1-5. There is one exception that we all know, that if the substandard asset is unsecured by nature, please listen to this carefully. If substandard asset is unsecured by nature, then 15 plus 10% additional, that is 25%. So this is the total provision you have to do on a substandard asset. 15% general provision and 10% additional if this asset is unsecured by nature. Now, so 15 plus 10, that is 25%. Some time back, say 5-7 years back, the provision was 10% for all substandard asset and 10% for additional provision when the asset is unsecured by nature. Please listen to this carefully. I'm not saying unsecured portion. What I am basically saying unsecured by nature. So if my advance is unsecured by ab initio, unsecured as a default way of advance, then I have to make 10% additional. So some time back we went to bank branch to do this statutory bank branch audit of this NPA provisions. Now in the branch you have this computerized statement, computerized sheet where they show you the NPA provision done. So in that branch they were showing 1 lakh rupees credit card outstanding had become substandard. 1 lakh rupee credit card outstanding had become substandard. So the provision in the branch calculation was 10,000 rupees. See, if you read the IRAC norm, Income Recognition Asset Classification norm of Reserve Bank of India, the provision has to be 15% general, 10% additional if the advance is unsecured by nature. The time I am talking, that time the provision was 10% general and 10% additional if the asset is unsecured. So the branch had made the provision of 10,000 rupees on 1 lakh unsecured credit card outstanding which had become substandard. Now I brought this to the knowledge of the branch manager. So you know, we all have experienced that. Just say yes in the chat if yours is the same experience. I told the branch manager this calculation is incorrect. Your system is calculated incorrectly. 90% we have experienced that when we bring such a discrepancy to the knowledge of the branch manager, 90% cases branch manager will say it is a system generated calculation, it cannot be incorrect. Our system has calculated, it's a core banking system calculation, it cannot be incorrect. But then I took half an hour to convince the branch manager. We read the IRAC norms, Income Recognition Asset Classification norms of the Reserve Bank of India along with the branch manager. Then I showed him the closing guidelines of the bank itself. There it was also clearly written. So it took some convincing to the branch manager. that their calculation is incorrect. Now, once the branch manager was convinced, as soon as he was convinced that the data or the information or the calculation they've shared with statutory auditor that is incorrect, you know what the branch manager did? As soon as he concluded that it is wrong, he told, sir, this calculation is not done by us. This calculation has been given to us by the regional office. So we are persuasive auditors. Like evidences are persuasive in nature, so are we as persuasive auditor. So I asked the branch manager to give me number of the telephone number of the regional office. We called the regional office. I talked to the regional manager. Now see, as soon as I told the regional manager that the calculation of NPA for substandard advances as given to us at the branch is incorrect, we got the same response from the regional manager also. He also said, sir, this is system generated calculation. This cannot be incorrect. Again, I took some convincing to the regional manager on phone itself that their calculation is incorrect. As soon as the regional manager realized that we as auditors are correct, you know what he told us? One of the best part that I have learned over this period. He told us, sir, the software was provided by the head office. The data was provided by the branch. We put the data provided by the branch in the software provided by the head office. The calculation is done by the software. So we are also not correct. The mistake is not ours. Persuasive auditor, as soon as the regional manager told us that this calculation is based on a software given by head office, I asked the regional manager, sir, now you have realized that the calculation is incorrect. I want to talk to the AGM IT of the bank, the main person responsible for this software in the bank. So he gave us a number. We called that AGM IT of the bank. That person was a smart person in terms of the acceptance level. As soon as I told him, sir, this is what is happening and your system is not going correctly, immediately in split second, the AGMIT said, sir, I acknowledge we are incorrect. So the AGMIT accepted that the bank system is incorrect. Now see, this is a phenomenal case to learn. Once the AGMIT concluded, agreed to our presentation as stat auditor of the branch that the software is calculating provisions incorrectly, we created a detailed system audit report with LFR. We created a disclaimer in the audit report. I'll read the disclaimer to you. The disclaimer read like this, that see, we are financial auditors. Our job is to see whether the provision for NPA advances as made by the bank, these provisions has to be in line with the requirement of the IREC norm, income recognition, asset classification, prudential norms of the Reserve Bank of India. During validation, we, the branch auditor, came across a mistake. What was the mistake? That the bank's software was making short provision of 10% on unsecured substandard advances. So if the total unsecured substandard advances of the branch are 100 crores, then there is a short provision of 10 crores. And because the bank has not provided us the system audit report of the software that is used by the bank to calculate the IREC, the provisions, we disclaim all calculations done by that software to make provision in the bank's branch balance sheet. I have read you the logical qualification we gave. You know what is the first word we have created? I want to ask this question. I think I can type it in chat. Allow me to say, I'm putting two words: system audit versus financial audit. I'll request you to answer. You can answer in QA that is visible to me. Which prevails given an option today, system audit versus financial audit? Which audit are you going to do first? Good. So very good. So yes, chat is the chat box that I am. If I can increase the size of it, I don't know, but it is possible in the smallest possible font, and all of you have said it correctly. System audit. That means now today, if I am going for financial audit, the first thing that I need to ask the auditee is, please provide. If you are using a software, we'll see the level of the software usage that has come up. So if you are using a software which is so tightly integrated to the business that one day if your software is off, your business is off. That means that we want system audit report before we go for financial audit. So I think because most of you have said system audit, that does one part of the job. The relevance for system audit is created, believe me. I understand, see, we as chartered accountants in practice, there are a lot of like verticals that we are engaged into. One of the verticals that we are engaged is this stock audit for bank. So when you go for stock audit for bank, sorry, most of the time, like because we are addressing SMPs, small medium practitioners, most of our client use some specified software. Now when you get that stock audit detail, the valuation of the stock is done through the software. So what is one thing that has become mandatory today is to ask the stock auditee client to provide you confirmation. You know what confirmation we need to see? That the valuation data that has been generated by the software used by the client is in compliance with the regulation of accounting standard to valuation of inventory. Very, very, very important. So even for such engagement as stock audit, we must be asking the validation of the software which is used by the entity for valuing their stock first. Then so this has become very, very, very important for all of us to confirm whether the system that is used by the auditee is in compliance with applicable laws, applicable regulations. So we all understand now that system audit is so important. Without this, we will not be able to do financial audit. In fact, some time back, I was talking to, just say in the question answer, anyone who has been central statutory auditor of a bank, any one of you who has represented a CSA, just say yes in the QA session. CSA, central statutory auditor. I had a discussion with central statutory auditor some time back, in fact last year itself. Reserve Bank of India has asked bankers to have this automatic NPA software where all NPA of the bank will be generated through the software, and the mandate. I've read that circular or notice by notification by Reserve Bank, that it writes in that document that whatever software is used by the bank for automatic calculation of NPA, that software has to be tamper proof. Please understand, tamper proof means no one can make any modification. There is only one exception given in the software, that sometimes you have this CDR, corporate debt restructuring of advances. If due to that this relaxation for classification has to be given as per the basic mandate, it can only be, the exception can only be sanctioned by managing director of the bank. Just look to the intensity of the way things are. So we have started with only one word, that is system audit, because the introduction said that system audit and opportunities. So believe me, it's a huge opportunity that lies down there. We all realize that as things are going ahead, lot of like banks are being consolidated, branches of the bank are being reduced. So physical branches available for us for bank branch stat audit are going down. Where this new opportunity is going to come from? This system audit. So first we have taken a live sample of doing a system audit, necessity of a system audit. Believe me, it is mandatory for any software that your client is using for any compliance. If I put that word correctly. Okay. Now let us go ahead to these two parts, part A and part B. What I'll be only be doing, I'll be sharing what we have learned over this period of time, and whatever I say, believe me, that means I understand. If in the chat you could just put the name of the city, I believe most of you are from Chennai itself. But if even if you're from some small town in say some state from south of India, believe me, will be talking about there is lot of opportunity that lies down in the town that you are. We need to create scope for us, build scope for us, and these are phenomenal opportunities, and the value is much, much higher. So we'll be talking about that. Okay, then let us go to the definition. So part A, organized set of ideas or theories. Girish is from Lucknow. Or particular way of doing things, computer equipment, programs, and purpose. So I've been to South, I've been to Chennai, I've been to Saukarpet in Chennai. Lucknow, there's a place called as Hazrat Ganj. Sometime you go there. So when you go to Hazrat Ganj, you don't go for shopping, you go for ganjing. Girish will agree. Then, yeah, we have someone from Hyderabad. That is one of the best places I love to be there is this our Center for Excellence. It's a phenomenal place. It's like the energy it creates when you go to Hyderabad Center of Excellence, phenomenal. And then of course Karachi Bakery and Paradise Biryani. Yes, we have Kiran from Bangalore. We had someone from Kurnool. Kurnool is beautiful. So great, good, good. Bangalore, you have this KC Das sweet shop. And then Bangalore, one thing that I enjoyed was this Darshini, those small restaurants, early morning 7 a.m. they give you very hot, freshly prepared idli with coconut chutney. My God, the taste of them. You go to any such store, they are fantastic. Okay, so back to class. So set of ideas, processes, theories, and part B is about computer, about equipment. So let us start with the next slide. So part A, we are going to talk about how to implement methodology of working, and part B, we are going to talk about computer systems. Now, please understand what is there. So what I'll be doing, I will be doing practically only. I'll be bringing a problem, and then we are going to look for solution. Yeah. So Girish says there is Ramoji City also. Good, film city, great. Okay. So defining the way of working. Now, see, in fact, in this 1st July 2022, this year, we next year we as an institute. See, this year we are celebrating. We are going to celebrate 75th Independence Day of our country. Just down the line, 2 years, we'll be celebrating 75th year of establishment of our institute, 1st July 2024. So a very good thing to learn about. This 1st July 2022 was 5th year for one a fundamental change that was brought in our country, that was GST. Now, what we are basically talking about. So 1st July 2017, GST was implemented, and this year we celebrated the 5th year of implementing GST. Now, I realize that many of us are into this GST consultation. So GST consultation is preparing data, filing returns, and all compilation that is needed for GST. Now, what we are looking at, so what we are basically looking at, that what we have learned, that if I configure the software properly, if I configure my masters properly, 95% of my GST compliance I can do through software. I need not create the data outside the software. I need not create reconciliation. I need not work on Excel. All the clients that we have, lot of data compilation either is done by the accountant if the client is so big size. Most of the time, if the client is not that big, our staff has to do that account reconciliation, Excel, GSTR 1, 2A, 2B, 3B, and all reconciliation. What we have realized that if I configure my software properly, configure my master properly, 95% of my GST tax compliances that include TDS, I can directly do through softwares. Two lines are opportunities, huge opportunity. See, we need to create products. See, the way market is, we must be able to create, commoditize our services. So this is a commodity that we must be able to sell, that we configure softwares and we configure masters. Just as an example, see, once GST has come up, our institute has brought this word of KYC. For ICAI, if you could just put it in the QA section, for our institute, the mandate for practicing CA is KYC. So know your client, know your customer. Our institute has mandated that whatever client we are giving services, we need to ensure that we have proper details of the client regarding the genuineness and documentation. Today, the way system is there, the way GST is flowing, we have learned, we have realized that even if I have to create a new vendor in my accounting software, I need to follow a process of creating vendor. Process of creating vendor means I need to ensure the vendor details are there, the vendor GST number is there, vendor PAN number is there. Then only I create that vendor in my accounting software. It has become very, very important. And just see the way GST is evolving. Of course, we all realize that when it was introduced, there was a lot of flux, lot of misunderstanding, the way GST is to work, but it is evolving, it is improving. Day by day, changes are being brought, put into the software. So this process of GST coming up has made it so important that whatever masters we create are validated for the statutory purpose. Believe me, I am not talking of an accountant's job. I am talking of a consultant's job. You act as a consultant, get this master configuration, software configurations done for entity. And if entity is an existing entity, we must be able to convince that once you do this master configuration, the level of efficiency your accountants are going to display. To me personally, it will be enhanced more than 100, 200 times, because the time saved will be so good that your accountant can be put on other critical jobs other than GST being there. So first is configuring softwares, configuring masters. Now I want to share a case. We are basically on the word software. See, there is a step before configuring software. Can anyone put it in the chat or QA section? What step comes before configuring software? What step you imagine before you configure a software? In the chat, QA. I've been informed that QA will be visible. Okay. Good. So I'll repeat ICAI Chennai to create e-motos, e-chocolates, e-mementos. So first e-memento has to go to Dinesh for saying understanding the requirement. Great. Then next is, I'm not able to get the full name. Next is blueprint. Very good. Place. Good. Kumar. I'm able to read Kumar. Okay. So I'm taking Sony says describe the master data. But I think Dinesh was exactly correct. Now see, let me share a case with you. Okay, let me share another screen. Just give me a second. I want to create a case to help you understand the intensity of the topic. Just give me a second. Okay, I've shared a Word document. Is it visible? Someone has to say yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now, see, I'm bringing this case. This is going to tell what is the intensity of the thing we are talking about. Okay, so company had selected the ERP. Now, after having selected, company called this CA to help implement. So software selection was already done. CA went there to implement. We got this opportunity some time back. So when we went for the implementation, we realized that the software is not as per the requirement. That is the reason I said e-momento to Dinesh. Software was not as per requirement of the company. It had already been selected. So we brought this within first 15-20 days of our being there. We brought this to the notice of the owners, the promoters, managing director of the company. The company I'm talking about had a turnover of 250 crores then. So we told to the managing director that this software is not for you, not as per the requirement. But then because company had already bought this software, must have made some advance payment. They said, no, let us continue with this only. So we continued. After another month, so by the end of the second month, the company's promoters realized that this is not the software they wanted. They have gone for a wrong software. They totally shelved the project. The project was junked, scrapped, thrown away. A new software was bought, but because the company had taken the decision, company lost 20 lakh rupees for the transaction. Let me share what was the component of this 20 lakh rupees. So they had selected a software, so they must have made some advance payment to the vendor. The vendor's implementation team was there 3 months prior to our being asked to implement that. So they had been there for 3 months. They started data configuration, data redefinition, data reorganization, creating SOP, understanding the business requirement, configuring that software for the business requirement of the entity. So 3 months, 2 staff of the vendor. So they're traveling, stay, lodging, boarding, advance for the software. Then this company said that to use this software, you require this category of say IBM servers. So those IBM servers were bought. We were there for 2 months. So our fees also was paid. But the end result was 20 lakh rupees was lost. I have shared an opportunity. I want you to tell what exactly, how you define this in the QA. How I define this opportunity so that I can sell it out. We want to create opportunities. What is the name of this? Okay, so let us, is there someone? Okay, let me try. Just one more second. Okay, I'm doing. Software selection consultation. It is a job to be done. Believe me, and it has immense value. Just understand, means just let us be very shrewd persons. Company lost 20 lakh rupees. So suppose I only say, yes, very good. I'm not able to get the name. Khati, if I've read it correctly. ERP selection, no support, selection, software selection consultation. So even at the cost of 25%, company would have saved 15 lakh rupees. It's an opportunity to get in. So that is why I took you from Dinesh, that understanding the requirement. Yes, we must be able to do it. Software selection, so good job. So once this you are able to do, so before you even start configuring, you have opportunity of being part of the software selection process. That is so important. So we have our only on the first two parts, huh? Configuring softwares and configuring masters. So I took a step above configuring software. We talked about even selection of the software. In fact, just for the sake of sharing, nothing critical to that. I became chartered accountant in, I think, yeah, 97. So when we became chartered accountant, me along with my friend, the first job we did professionally was to help a company select an accounting software. And this CRP we did just at the start of the pandemic. Okay, so software selection, which software to use, see what happens. And this is a product that we need to create. There are hundreds of the product available off the shelf. You can buy out, but then which is, and see the loss company has incurred 20 lakh, it's immense. So even at 25% of the cost, lot of money would have been saved. So before we go for configuring software, you go for selection, then you go for configuration, then you go for creating, defining masters, and next is very, very important. In fact, this was exactly what I asked in the quiz. That was creating standard operating procedures. Please understand the lining, the word we have used is creating SOP for creating masters. Believe me, every word is critical. SOP, you understand, standard operating procedures. So you create SOP, document. How to create master? See the softwares we use, there are shortkeys, Alt C. What happens when you create Alt C? So in the accounting software, you can create a new ledger. Today in GST, the way GST is, that option does not exist. In fact, many of us who are providing GST consultation, when at the end of the month you go for this reconciliation, data validation of GST, you find that many of the errors are because a new vendor account, new customer account was created, the GST details were properly not updated in system. So B2B sale is treated as B2C sale. Please understand, these are real vendors credit. So category of vendor is say composition, and it is being taken as regular vendor in GST. So 1% and 18% gap is huge. So for in the environment we are all in, and the way it is going ahead, this itself, point number 3, creating standard operating procedures for creating masters, or you may say creating accounting manual. How a master has to be created has become very important. Just for the sake of it, I just read, in fact, just 7 days back, like e-invoice, I think there is a proposal. Please confirm if it is true or not. There is a proposal for e-invoice for all entities from 1st April 2023 with a turnover 5 crore and above. So if e-invoice is made 5 crores and above applicable, believe me, 90% of data validation is going to be done in government's GST and network itself. There will be nothing left for us to do except these top 3 that I have talked about. Because once e-invoice is there, those of us who are providing GST consultation, we realize that the teething issues go away. The system will be so streamlined, there will be nothing to ask. Everything will be driven through system itself. So configuring software, configuring masters, creating SOP, standard operating procedures for creating master. It is very specific. Then implementing SOP. So implementing the standard operating procedures. So you create, you train the whole. So first implement and they give training to all the staff. Then maintenance. See, this itself is an opportunity. Once you have created SOP, you implement the SOP, you train the entity on SOP, and once trained, you become auditor for the SOP implementation, whether it is being properly done or not. And maintenance is some updates that need to be brought as per the need of the requirement changes, which may be brought in law itself. So we have just read about the second part. We talked about system audit, then creating systems, processes, defining processes. Let us go to the third one. implementing computer system. Now, so before we go to sub parts of it, let us take a case at the top, and then I'll tell you why I asked the city name. So sometime back, then I will be sharing one technical word, okay, that most of you are familiar with. You have read in your CS syllabus. Those who read ISCA, I think most of you have read ISCA. Please say yes in the chat. So those of you who have read ISCA, or those of you who have read, Girish says yes. Ritesh also says yes. So those of you have read ISCA in CA final, or this, those who probably many of you have done visa also, or FAFD, you are familiar with the word. I'll tell you what exactly it is. We are reading the first point. Allow me to do it through a case. Now, see all the cities that you are in, there are cooperative bank in your city. Okay. Then Reserve Bank has mandated, I think 2015 itself, that all cooperative banks need to have core banking system. Now, so next opportunity that I am sharing with you is system audit of core banking system of cooperative bank. It's a mandate. To what I know right now, it has to be done annually. So all city town you are, there are cooperative banks which are subject to system audit. But I'm going a step before it. Some time back, we got an opportunity to do a system audit for a cooperative bank. We were given a mandate. Our mandate was that we had to audit the software, find the lacunas, gaps, and suggest solution. So system audit to identify lacunas, gaps in the software, and suggest a solution. We went for the audit. It was a phenomenal learning experience. So, you know that, see, we all are learning. I'm learning daily how to improve my communication skill, both oral and written. So I've learned that whatever physical reports we give, we must create an executive summary. So for this bank system audit report, we created a one-page executive summary of our findings. I personally enjoy that flair of making one-line summary of the one-page report. So we had a one-page summary of the report and a one-line summary of this one page. I'm logically reading that one-line summary to you. We said the system of the bank is so bad, it is like garbage. It must be thrown away in dustbin. Logically, it was read like this. We wrote it. So for this one-line summary, the logical reading is that the system is scrapped, throw away in the dustbin. We created this one-line summary from a one-page executive summary. For this one-page executive summary, we had a 100-page annexure, and now this 100-page annexure was made through what you all know as Audit guidance, control objectives for information and related technology. That guidance is available. It is part of the DISA syllabus. Reserve Bank of India mandate for system audit. Our institute has a separate publication on that. So we merged both, and then we gave this report. The conclusion of the report was that the system is so bad, throw it out. You know the best part of it? I don't know best or worst, but what happened? The governing board of the bank, they accepted our report. So governing board accepted, and then just allow me to do the way I am doing it. They told us, Mr. Gupta, now because you have asked us to throw the system away, you need to ensure that our bank, we are throwing the system away. We accept your report. Now you have to guide us to implement a core banking system for the bank. I want you to read the first bullet point of this slide. Full scale implementation partner for system implementation. Believe me, you and me, the way technology, and those who have done any post qualification on technology, we are all capable of providing this service. Full scale implementation for full-scale partner for an implementation of system. To this, I want to share a phenomenal case with you. Let me bring my Word document. Yeah. So this go-to I've learned. So thanks to SIRC to allowing to learn a new platform. So we had a training session on go-to. Selva gave me the training session. So I think it's working. Now that case I want to share on CA part of implementation. Let us do it.
Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir. Tell me, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. It was thanking you, Selva, for the training you gave me yesterday.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. And we'll see, sir, if there is any question, we'll take it. I hope everything was addressed actually. So if there is any questions that come up to us, and we will share it to you over mail, sir. When time permits, you can respond. And the recordings of the session and the PPT will be updated in our YouTube channel and our SIRC website shortly in a week time or so. And
members are able to hear you,
and also for the registered participants, they can watch it again, sir. So as of now, I can see you're typing it up something rate and transaction code.
It is visible to members, na?
Yes, sir. Rate.ms.
Yeah. Okay. So let me continue. Now see what we are looking at. This rate master and contractor master. I am showing you database data tables from a system implemented. A phenomenal learning. Okay. I love this interaction. So I'll ask you a question at the end of this case I'm sharing. Kindly try to respond in the QA. Okay, let me complete it. These are samples. Okay? Now see this company that implemented this ERP package, and this is the way their TDS modules were designed. So in the ERP, they had a rate master data table, section the code and the rate, and the applicable rates were by code. So in this case, they had a contractor master. It was a construction company. Now what happened? So in the rate master, you will define the rate. In contractor master, the name and code. Rate was not there in the contractor master table, but I have given it only for reference. Even if rate is not there, if I give the code, so system from the code will automatically take the rate. Rate here is only for reference purpose. Now what happened? This contractor B, he got a low rate tax deduction certificate of 0.5%. This contractor B, he got a low rate tax deduction certificate of 0.5%. And this certificate he brought to the company and asked the company that I want my TDS to be done at 0.5. Here is my low rate tax deduction certificate issued under respective section of the Income Tax Act. Now see, company accepted that, but then company was in a fix. See the way their system was configured. So you had 194C, 94C was the code. The basic rate was 2%. Now if the entity makes it as 0.5%, 0.5 will become rate applicable to all the contractors. The system was configured in this manner. It's a real case. So we all understand what is the problem, but that is not the point that I want all of us to learn. So company realized that they cannot change the rate to 0.5% in system like this. So they said to B, see, there's some problem in it. So company is making presentation to B, the B contractor. Company saying to B, see, there is problem in our system. We accept this tax deduction certificate you got, but we cannot update in system. So we request you to allow us to deduct your TDS at the rate of 2%, because excess TDS is there, you claim a refund. But then B is legally right. He got the right certificate. Then I think you all know that certificate has some parameters, the nature of payment, the payer, the amount of payment, and there is direct indirect cost of getting the certificate also. So B was adamant that no, you have to do it. Now the company was in a fix how to do it. So see how company did it. Someone in the company found an innovative solution to this problem. So I'm sharing that solution. See what they did. So someone in the company got this idea. Oh, this we can do. What you can do? So they introduced section 194CA, and to this section the rate of 0.5% was given. Great. So here the solution is there, and the code for B, that was 94C, was made as 94CA. So the solution was there. Everything went perfectly. But see, integrated system has its own problem. You know what happens? Because the TDS certificate was also system generated. So at the top of the certificate, it was written certificate under section 194CA of the Income Tax Act. That the section does not exist in law. So some intelligent employee of the company came and he put one thing that we used to see in our articleship, whitener. So he put whitener on A and everything was done. Now I am putting the question to you. Try to give it a thought. Why this? Because it's not we are not physicals. Physical, it have been much fun, but just for the sake of it, I want you to share what is your feeling that why this error happened, if it happened at all. What was the core reason for the error? Okay, so I've just opened the chat. Why this error happened, if it happened at all, like that. Okay. So because we want to do it fast, time. Okay, so Kumar says still be 194 with new code is 94CA. Okay. Data. Good. Chaku is saying data. Okay, so that does my job. To me, master, yeah, good. So Dinesh says master parameter is incorrect. I'm taking Q from Dinesh's point, because why master parameter is incorrect? You know why? Because let us go to the PPT. The company did not have a chartered accountant as a part of its mass system implementation. A CA was not engaged, because if a CA would have been there, he would have brought this knowledge to the company that in income tax there is a possibility that in a section there could be low rate of tax deduction. That is. So we are only on the first point. Okay. So we have talked about system audit, software selection, process creation. Then we are talking about how you can be part of the full scale implementation of the software. In fact, this is a means, see, believe me, the way things are today, software selection, there are sellers of the software. You have to create a scope for you. That there are 10 sellers, and here is a company which is going to use the software. So you must be able to coordinate for the company with these 10 sellers, do a study based on the requirement of the company and suggest to the company this software is best for you. See how the stages are built. So you are helping the company select the software. Then once you are selected the software, you are helping the company implement the software. Once implementation is done, you are helping the company audit the software. So even in this one line software, there are 3 audits built: selection, implementation, and post implementation audit. itself is an opportunity. We are only on the first line of this slide. If that is clear, then we'll go to the next part of it. Expert as an expert at each stage of implementation of system. Now, so let us go to the next one. I want to ask the question in reverse manner. What you are looking at screen is what? So screen has the answer. I want you to create the question. What is it? Okay. So Supriya has it first. Yes, good. All of you. Oh, so all you. I think that was the easiest topic you read. SDLC. Good. So Sandhya has also said it correctly. SDLC. Now, these are phases of methodology of development that we call as system development life cycle, SDLC. Okay. Now, so let me read the phases. If you are looking, means, so from a full-scale implementation, we have departmentalized, drawn into small parts. Preliminary investigation. So I'll read and then I'll define each of them, and then we'll take live cases to see what you can do. Preliminary investigation, system analysis, system design, acquisition, testing, implementation, and maintenance. So let us start one by one. I'll first define each phase and then we'll see the opportunity at each level. So preliminary investigation is that, see, when a software has to be, or a system has to be implemented, so before you go for implementation, so someone has to say, am I back?
You're audible and screen is visible, so you can continue.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So, so that is, so we were on this definitions. Preliminary investigation. Now, so when you go for system implementation per se, you make decision on feasibility. So you do legal, technical, financial, operational feasibility studies. So a CA is within his capabilities to help on these feasibility studies. That is part of preliminary investigation. Next, system analysis. Now this is very, very important. See what exactly is system analysis. So system analysis is this analysis of the present system compared to proposed system and to define the path ahead. So system analysis is you compare the present system and the proposed system and the path ahead. That is system analysis. So this phase generates a very, very important document that when we go for system implementation, document we call as system requirement specification document. What is a system, what it is going to do, and how it is going to do. SRS document. In fact, that cooperative bank, and this SRS is very important. The cooperative bank that we are talking about. So when we went for an audit of their core banking system, the vendor who had implemented CBS, the CBS that we were auditing, the vendor had not created SRS document. Believe me, if a vendor does not create the SRS document, it is a disaster. It basically means the vendor implemented the software as it was. He or she did not consider the requirement of the user. When we did the audit of that bank software, I'm just sharing for the namesake. There were many problems, but because these three will be easy to share, the software did not have one of three critical modules. The three critical modules were CRR, SLR, ALM. We all understand the criticality of it. That is asset liability management, statutory liquidity ratio, cash reserve ratio calculation based on the time demand liabilities of the bank. Every day it has to be generated. So that software did not have these three modules. It was a disaster. So you now, what service you can provide as a chartered accountant? You can be part of the analysis team, analyzing the present system, comparing it with the proposed requirement, and creating this SRS document. First, believe me, so you can be creator of SRS. The other aspect is you can be auditor of SRS. You can audit the system requirement specification document, whether the document created is for all the requirement of the bank, all the requirement of the entity for which system is being implemented. So you can be creator of SRS. Then third, design. Now for us, design has technicalities, but one aspect that me can provide consultation is all controls that are built in system are ideally created at the design phase. So whether the needed controls have been put in place in system, that you can do at design phase. Next, acquisition. When we had that quiz, so one of you said hardware, software. Yes, system acquisition. You can be consultant to software and hardware acquisition. I have shared with you two live cases that yes, software selection has to be done through you, because the whole entity is going to work on the software. All outputs that are going to be generated will be generated through those softwares. And next, I prefer to do it with a case testing. Now see, we have all read testing. Some time back, we got this opportunity to do a testing of a taxation software. So what we did, I'm sharing. So to create that scope for you. So that taxation software, we created 500 computations, processed those computations on the taxation software, and generated the calculation of those computations, say mechanically, means say through Excel. So one was calculated on Excel, other was done through the taxation software, and we compared the results. Now I am just sharing for the sake of it. What we found, that the taxation software was calculating interest under section 234B. You realize 234B of income tax. At incorrect value, it was calculating interest at a lesser value to the benefit of the assessee. Taxation software. Second, the taxation software did not have the module of calculating benefit under the heading arrears of salary. Now, please understand, 234B calculation incorrect means that when the software creator, he or she created the software, they did not test it properly. Please understand. So two errors and two level of understanding. So just creating scope. So when the software created, they released the software in market. Before releasing, they had to do software testing. So when they tested, they did not test whether 234B interest is calculated correctly or not. That means in their testing team, they did not have you and me. Okay, first. Second, arrears of salary calculation was not there in the software. Now, suppose I put this question back to you just for learning. See how we can imagine, how we can do good things. The answer is on the slide. The answer is on the slide. Arrears of salary module was not there in the software. What is the question? Question is, which phase you see the mistake was there? At which phase this mistake was done when the taxation software was created, not to have arrears of salary as a part of taxation software? Let us see the answers. So Supriya says preliminary design. Chandra says design. One more answer. Ritesh, system design. Dinesh, great. And the right answer is system analysis. Believe the scope. Analysis. There had to be a chartered accountant because you are creating a taxation software. That chartered accountant will tell you that when salaries analysis, what is the system, what is the requirement. So because the CA was not engaged in analysis, that software did not have calculations properly done for arrears of salary. And SRS, very good, Mahesh. Oh, good, thank you. This 9 public sector banks have been merged to create a 3 public sector banks. So because I have been hit by that, so Andhra Bank, Corporation Bank and Union Bank were merged to create Corporation Bank. I have from start of my articleship, when we used to get stipend in our office, so my account had been in Corporation Bank 30 years back, 25 years back, yeah. So that is the association with Corporation Bank. Now it has been merged into Union Bank. So merger has been seamless. There have been some issues, but otherwise the merger was seamless. See, the topic I am discussing is system testing. So I've created an example for you and me to do, and I'm extrapolating it to show you the scope of system testing. Okay. So the legal merger was announced, I think, 2 years back. The system version was system merger was done, I think, in November 2020, if I'm correct. So all these 3 bank system were merged together. Now, so I know companies in India who provided services to the merged entities core banking system. Please understand, a company is providing consultation to the merged core banking system, validating that this merged CBS is working properly. System testing. Imagine the scope, the extrapolation you can do. That is the scope that you are looking at. That is the big thing that you can look at. That is software testing. Then implementation, part of this process. Maintenance, to see if the updates have to be done. Audit has to be done. Rectifications have to be done. Again, it has to be done in documented manner. And see, anything like when this TCS was brought, so all software vendors, all accounting software vendors created a small patch that was incorporated in the basic software to see whether that incorporation is correct, whether the master definition as per TCS is made correctly or not. That is what is system maintenance. So preliminary investigation, analysis, design, acquisition, testing, implementation, and maintenance. I want to add just one more on design. See, if we get good understanding of system, this could be slightly technical, but we are not, see, please understand, whatever we are talking about, we are only using skills of chartered accountant. First, his capability of analysis. Second, his capability of understanding controls. Third, and bringing this, so your knowledge of chartered accountancy, your analytical skills, and your understanding of controls. That is exactly we are looking at. We are discussing nothing beyond it. So anyone who wants to do this job, he or she needs only these three things. So it was a one-off engagement, but it was part of this process. Sometime back, we provided a very specialized service to someone in US. The service was they were creating an accounting software. So we gave them a functional and structural design document. Functional and structural design document. System analysis and system design. So you can have a specialized service there also. But yes, the opportunities is there. So that is way of working. Any questions on then this? So 30 seconds break, and then we'll take the next part. Yeah, Oracle apps, fusion opportunities. Great, Shiva. Thank you. Shiva, no, SHNA. Okay. Yeah, Mahesh. Mahesh, your name is visible. Okay. So then next, this session I had taken previously also, but to the session I'm taking here, I have added a slide. So now I'm bringing that slide. Very, very, very important. Huge, huge opportunity in this governance, risk, and compliance. And see why this is here, why this has been brought in, this topic of system. See, please understand today the way entities are working, today the way technology is being used, all these parameters. So we'll take example, we'll take definitions, we'll take how you can be part of this framework creation. All this is technology driven. I'm just taking, let us take some examples to understand the key words that are on the slide. I understand that we have been listening to these words. I understand that probably many of us have read this word, some location, other location. We want to create definition for understanding purpose. Now see, governance is responsibility of top management. What governance basically means? So governance is like having proper policies, concept of internal control, ethical business practices, proper reporting, consideration of human resource. All these parameters are thought process of the management. Now today, one of the key word that is being talked about in governance is this sustainability reporting. Okay, so this ESG, entity sustainability governance. So these words are being created. Governance is something that comes from the top management, and then it has number of parameters. Let us take governance for us, how it becomes relevant for us. See, we have been reading this internal financial control, compliance with accounting standard, compliance with rules, laws, related regulations, internal control, management policies and procedures. If management want all to be part of system, all to be implemented. Now, anything that management wants to do, any policy implementation management wants to do today, it has to be done through technology. All that technology become part of this whole idea about governance. So let us talk about words one by one. We'll merge the three words and then see the opportunities that lie ahead. So governance is all that responsibilities of management, including internal control, compliance, business objectives, effectively, efficiently, economically. All definitions like this are part of governance. Risk. Risk, we all understand. Risk which may, the probability of an event that may cause loss to us. It could be internal, it could be external. That is risk. And today, one of the most talked about subject is governance. Governance, risk, and compliance. Just for the sake of it, if I put this back to all of us and ask you the simple question, if I say GRC, GRC is responsibility of whom? Auditor or auditee? Just for the sake of it, for discussion, GRC has to be Yeah, Audit T. Great, Sandhya. So GRC is to be complied by the entity management. Now understand, if this has to be done by management, you know what role me can play? We can be part of the implementation team that is creating the GRC framework. With this, I want to share a very good example that I have loved doing that. You know, I shared that case of company losing 20 lakh rupees. Now, what happened? When we went for that implementation, so in the first month, the company's system were hit thrice by ransomware. I think we all know ransomware, and believe me, all of us who are attending, our client, our own office has been hit by this ransomware in last 3 to 5 years. We all know what I am talking about. Ransomware. So what the hacker or the attacker does, he encrypts all your files. Now they are important files, so you want to take it back. So you get a mail from the hacker. Now see, you are hit by ransomware. We have taken all your files, encrypted your file. If you want them back, you pay us the amount. So they don't ask you to pay in rupee, dollar. They ask you to pay in bitcoins. And because you're novice, you don't know what is bitcoin, so they send a SOP also, that you standard operating procedure how you can buy bitcoin, because one of the key parameters of bitcoin is non-traceability. That's why our government of India, Reserve Bank of India are hesitant to allow it directly like that, because the traceability is not there, so it could be subject to money laundering. So the hackers are very ethical. They hack your system, they put ransomware, and they guide you how to buy bitcoins. So this company where we went for that implementation help, they were hit by ransomware once, 3 times in 1 month. Now it's a disaster. So when you're hit, what is the solution? Okay, let me put this question back to you. What is the solution? You cannot pay in Bitcoin. I don't know what the present price is Bitcoin is, but then it's just impossible to pay in Bitcoin. So what you do if you are hit by ransomware? Okay, so if you are hit by ransomware, no, Ritesh, yeah, you can use backup, but then your system, critical system files, so you can use backup if you have it. If your softwares are installed at backup location, very good. The other solutions, format everything, delete, and use backup. So you have to format and use backup, because without backup nothing will work. Very good. But then every time you cannot do it. So this company, we were there. So this company asked us, can you help us find a solution to the problem? So company has been hit 3 times by ransomware. So we helped because we were already working for them. So we did a detailed study of the operations, connectivity, networking, and all. So what we created for the company, I'm sharing, and that was the reason I brought this topic. We created what we call as Internet Access Security Policy. Please understand, you, me, are capable of creating these policies. I'll be bringing more on this, because I found a lot of opportunities built into this one heading. So let me share on that Internet Security Policy, then we'll bring more. So Internet Security Policy, that becomes part of the GRC framework. Backup policy, that becomes part of GRC framework. Asset or application usage policy becomes part of GRC framework. So you can create these policies and part of the creator of framework of GRC. So when we created this Internet Security Policy, we got an approval from management, and then had a training for all the employees within the company on the policy. And before I go to the next topic, I want to tell you, 3 times ransomware, I'm just sharing the source of the ransomware. I understand you can see my mobile. This was the source of the ransomware. You know, my mobile has a charging C-type connector. Through USB, I can connect to my laptop. So it was found that the employees in the company were charging their mobiles through the laptops and desktop. So the ransomware was going through these mobiles because these mobile is property of the employee, is not secured. So we had to ensure that all USBs were disabled. Few USBs which are allowed to be used in the company, they were restricted, and those employees who had USB enabled on his or her system, they were strictly instructed not to connect your mobile through USB charging cable to desktop laptop. Just see that. So you have this capability of creating these policies. So just for example, so this becomes part of your GRC framework. So internet security policy, backup policy, password creation policy, asset usage policy, logical access, physical access policy, broad security policy, everything can be created. That becomes part of GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. So any questions till here? Okay. So we started with system audit. Then we talked about creating operating instructions, creating standard operating procedures, configuring masters. Having created created masters, we talked about purchasing of the software, part of the team of purchasing of the software. Once you have purchased the software, you become implementation partner while it is being implemented. Once being implemented, you become system auditor, and during implementation, each phase of implementation, you can partner with the entity. And here you have this GRC framework, governance, risk, and compliance, where you can create the framework, implement for the entity to see whether controls are there, to see whether controls are working properly or not. So if you look to the broad spectrum of things, suppose I ask you, see, of all the things we have discussed, there is a concept of consultation and there is a concept of audit. Which one had more weightage in our discussion? There is a concept of consultation and there is a concept of audit. Which one had more weightage in the discussion we had? So I can be consultant and I can be auditor. Yes. And exactly this is what the change, the theme of the session was this only, that we want to think beyond audit. We want to think on consultation. That is, you create as a part of governance, risk, and compliance framework. One last case, and then that will be probably end of this session. You can ask as many questions as you want. Now, you know, this we went to this statutory bank branch audit. So I'm asking this question. See, our understanding of technology has to be so phenomenal. So we also went for statutory bank branch audit for a public sector bank. Now I'm asking this question. Okay, try to answer in the chat. Suppose you have recovery in NPA. There's a recovery in NPA account. Where you adjust? Principal, interest, or charges? Recovery in NPA account, where you adjust? Supriya says charges, interest, principal. Okay. Good. So this again, this has to go to Girish. As per the policy, so Nalama, as I can read the name, says charges. Good. So this bank, they had a recovery. The recovery was 10,000 rupees. Okay. The URI, unrealized interest, as appearing in the books, was 12,000. So if we go by what answers I get, of the 10,000 rupees, if my unrealized interest is 12,000 rupees, all 10,000 has to be adjusted towards interest because URI is higher than the recovery amount. But when we check the ledger of the customer, we found that system, through some of its calculation, it adjusted 8,000 rupees to interest and 2,000 rupees to principal. So we asked the branch manager, please provide us the policy, because of such recoveries, how they will be accounted for. The RBI IREC norm says that each bank has to create its policy for accounting of NPA recovery. So we asked for the policy. So branch didn't have the policy. They sent their requirement to the regional office. Regional office also did not have the policy on document. So they sent it to the head office. Head office, we got immediate response. So they shared with us copy of audited balance sheet of the bank in which the policy had been mentioned. So the policy of the bank was, as someone correctly said, was whatever recoveries are there, they are first to be adjusted to charges, then interest, and then principal. Now I am asking you a question. Our heading is there. Huh? Please try to answer. So the policy is first charges, then interest, then principal. We found that it was not doing this way. Interest was being adjusted, principal was also being adjusted when the overdue interest was much larger than the recovery. I'm asking you, this is failure of whom? This is failure of whom? Policy creator or policy implementer? You can say PC or PI. This is failure of whom? Policy creator or policy implementer? Yes, Sony, great. PI, Grish, policy implementation. Fantastic. This is what I call as GRC audit. See, the breakdown. We talked about GRC implementation. I have shared a case where you can be part of the GRC audit team also. Governance, risk and compliance audit being done. So we had to qualify. We had to say no in LFR. There is a point in LFR that whether the recovery is as per policy, we said no. It was apparent, so clear. So the creation of the policy was good, but the implementation was very incorrect. That is how you work on this. Policy implementation was not proper. Governance, risk and compliance. So that is what I wanted to share. So we are now making it an open house. Any questions you can have? So how you are going to ask questions, you'll be putting in the chat with this QA itself. Yeah. Okay. Girish, you are doing system audit. Great. Let me see whether I can. The readability is the issue. How to get the system audit? Opportunity, we apply lots of tender which ask for pre-requirement of doing system audit. Yes. Okay. Not doing. I now read the question, Girish. Thank you. So see, I've shared lot of cases. In fact, just one, I want to share one more opportunity because I've allowed you to open house. So yeah. So let me do it what I have shared. So I'm just bringing one thing. Okay, just give me a second. Yeah. Now see what I am doing. So doing system audit. Let me share something on the feedback you all gave. You know what I have shared with you? I have shared Google Analytics of the feedback. Now see, in system, what we have started doing, there's a session that I've been taking on improving your client service delivery. So what we are basically creating, if a client gives us a problem, we try to find how that problem can be addressed through use of technology, just for the sake of it. In our office, we have been able to make paperless internal audit, paperless concurrent audit, of course, some documentation at bank system, paperless internal management audit, paperless stock audit. Our team does audit through this. They don't carry paper. It's a phenomenal way of doing work. So this, I'm not able to say which word has to be added. You can say implementing system in my own office. So in our office, all attendance marking, all system, all conveyance claim, all payments are technology driven. We are providing client service delivery to the client through use of technology. I'll share here this chat link. If anyone who has the link and he or she has not responded, I'll request you to respond. It is in the chat I have shared. If someone can respond, it is 11. But if someone is responding, let me just read through. So what you said, the system definition as per you is software, way of working, processes, audit, and software, hardware, network, and peripheral. It has given as a percentage. So you're doing this some audit. So our team will do audit. Now this is actually doing system in your office. So when it is done through technology, I get all updates on system. So I know during a day how many vouchers has been checked. I don't do it like that, but this capability is there. What is the time a person is taking in checking a voucher? Then there is a lunch break people takes. What was the length of the lunch break? Everything I am able to track. So once you are able to do it, your presentation improves. So to managing director of the company, we were showing this queries during basic vouching. So MD is not interested in like kitne voucher, how many vouchers were not signed. Yeah, 12. Now see, as soon as someone is submitted, thanks for this, you see all data has changed real time. So Google Analytics, we all know and we all use it. I'm just showing the practical aspect of using it. Yes, someone again has submitted. Great. Thanks for this cooperation. So what, you know, the phenomenal part of what you're looking at. So I was giving this presentation to the managing director and we were looking at the type of errors. So percentage, say in 3 months, 500 cash vouchers were checked. So we were able to see how many voucher had improper supporting, the date difference in supporting and the voucher, then difference between amount as per supporting and as in voucher. So I was showing to the managing director. So it was roughly half an hour presentation. He enjoyed it. After half an hour, I told the MD, see, when we started the presentation, the data you were looking was at 500 vouchers. Now, because in half an hour, my team has checked some roughly 10 vouchers more, the data is 510. That much real-time data is. It was like a wow feeling to them. So doing system as profession is very good, and doing system in your office is much better. It allows you to improve your own service delivery. So that is session from my part. I'll be waiting for queries. Let me open the QA. So Girish, the answer to your point is that you start educating. Means you have to educate your client. The need has to be created in the mind of the client, and then you can get these opportunities. Please take up my previous question on Mahesh. I'm just so I'm not able to use it properly. I've got here, but the readability is coming, making it really tough. Whether client expects technical qualification? No. I've already I started with that, Sony. Not required. How to make career in system audits and there. So you have to work like this, the way I've shared. You have to build it over a period of study, make presentation, provide service to the client. Okay. So that is how it is. Okay. So if there are no more queries, then I'll request the Chennai office to take it over. Yeah. Immense opportunities, huh? software development and yes, yes, lot of opportunity in software development system implementation. So any more queries coming there?
No, sir.
Okay. So yeah.
Yes, I will conclude the sessions. In this case, we have Monica from SIRC. She will propose a formal vote of thanks, sir. Yeah. Monica, over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your time. And I think hope you are like made as an organizer and covered all the questions from the members. And it is literally an interactive session with all the members, I think. Hope all the members would have like enjoyed your session and they would have cleared their doubts. And thank you so much for your time, sir. So we'd like to have you again. Yes.
Yeah. So do we close?
Yes, sir. We'll close the session.
Bye. Thanks to all of you for joining.
Welcome.
Thanks for the hearing and asking all the questions. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.